G'day folks, Tony Parmenter here from the First 10 Minutes podcast, welcoming you to a brand new Let's Play series. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for joining us. We certainly think that there's plenty here for you to enjoy. There'll be a bunch of links to other episodes at the end of this one, but if you do find yourself digging this jam, please make sure you click that subscribe button so you can be notified when other episodes are released. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much again for sticking with us. There's a new game here to check out. It's kind of a favorite of mine. So without further ado, hey, let's play Renowned Explorers International Society. So this is a bit of a favourite of mine, folks. It's been quite a long time since I have played it, so I may be a little rusty. You're welcome to ride along on this journey as I try and figure out what on earth I'm doing again. This game was released in 2015 in its original version. There are a few updates and expansion packs since then. I've rolled all the way back to the very, very early beginners one. Because I want you to get a sense of what the game is like. A little bit of cool sort of inverse parallax scrolling happening there as I'm moving the cursor around. Ooh. So let's start a new game. There are a couple of different game modes that we can play. Discovery mode, which allows you to load and save files. We're not going to do that one. We're going to go with adventure mode. You can't reload to previous situations, and if you lose, it's game over. The game automatically saves when you quit. They recommend that we play on classic difficulty level, which is what we're going to do. It requires some mastery to beat, and you need to be prepared to face bosses or risk losing. You'll need a few tries to succeed. That sounds great, and certainly very much in line with the recent sort of stuff that I've been playing, such as Caves of Qud, which is a roguelike permadeath game. Okay, so over on the left here, you can see a list of many of the different characters that you can take along on this game. We have to select our captain for the team first. Every character gets a specific captain bonus. And you can see there's a bunch here that are unlocked and also some that are not unlocked. You need to take characters along on expeditions before they will actually unlock as captains. So there are scientists, there are scouts, there are fighters, there are speakers. These kind of relate to three of the main attitudes that you can have in the game. You can see at the top here, friendly, devious, and aggressive. So this game uses a very particular and rather novel way of handling combat and handling encounters rather than try and explain it all poorly here at the beginning. We're just going to get rolling and I'll show you what I mean. So for our captain, I would like to go with Amelia Karkowska. I'm sure I mispronunciated that horribly. But Amelia is one of the scientist class. And you can see here that Amelia's captain perk is Resourceful Botanist. Start every expedition with tools, +1 study whenever you enter an area with a nature challenge. If you have no idea how this game works, this will all make sense as we keep going. This genius botanist hails from the Krakow University. She's looking to find more exotic plants, loves to read romance novels. Amelia is 18 and is from Poland. And she is a defensive scientist with great overall defenses. So this is handy. We're also going to take note that she is an archaeologist and a naturalist. She has one of the perks in each of these. There are, I think, 8 or maybe 9 perks in every other specialty. But let's pick some other crew members. For one of our other crew members, I'm going to go with Jean-Pierre Corneille. Jean-Pierre Corneille being a fighter. All his friends have full and exuberant beards, but Jean-Pierre cannot grow one himself. Searching for self-respect, this sailor now travels the world's most exotic places. This 36-year-old Netherlandian or Dutch would be another word for it. Just pardon me, I'm going to clear my throat. Jean-Pierre is a balanced fighter with great attack and decent defenses, and has 2 perks in Athlete. And rounding out the crew, last but not least, I think we might go with Kiwi Pakariki. Again, horrible mispronunciations, but them's the breaks. Kiri, as she is really named, ran out of places to run on her home island. She built her own boat and went on to explore the world. Kiwi is 19 and is from Samoa and has 2 points in the survivalist category. So let's get rolling. Let's meet our crew. All looking very heroic and fancy there. And hopefully we'll be able to handle this at first adventure well. If not, that'll be embarrassing for me. But we will play this a number of times. Alrighty, we have rolled the Viking landing for our first adventure. There are a couple of different ones that we can get, this being one of them. This is it. You just got your Renowned Explorers International Society membership. Amelia wants to make a big entrance and goes for an elusive treasure, a Viking ship. Rumours are that a boat belonging to the famous explorer Leif Erikson is somewhere on this forgotten island. We're going to skip the tutorial and I'll sort of try and talk us through things as we go. So here is the map for the game, sort of like the overall exploration map. You can sort of pan it around here. You can see there are a bunch of nodes. We can move to different areas. Just to take note, up the top of the screen here, we have Resolve. So when characters get defeated in combat or due to other circumstances, this resolve will go down. If it reaches 0, we lose. Here are our supplies. If supplies run out, we also lose. And you can see in between nodes here the cost of supply to move, and in some cases you can actually get more supplies in other spots. There's a bunch of other things here in terms of research and stats and all sorts of other stuff. We're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to get underway. So the goal here is before we run out of supplies, we're going to move our way around the different nodes on this board. We're going to be revealing different locations that are going to have different sorts of encounters, sometimes combat, sometimes not. And eventually make our way to the Viking ship before the supply runs out and hopefully complete the scenario. So let's go. We're going to move to this node here. It's going to cost us 1 supply, and there is status to be gained here, status being one of the main sort of stats that you can gain. Off we go. While scouting the area, a goofy-looking man comes running up to you. Are you, by chance, renowned explorers? You see, I'm kind of a big deal here, and I would love to travel with them and be part of their entourage, you know, to see the world. Why, yes, we are renowned explorers, and we could surely use you on board. The man is very happy. I can't wait. I promise to make your campaigns more effective. He rushes to your airship. I'm assuming that's meant to be he, a strange figure, but you're sure he'll come in useful. So we've now got a lobbyist in our entourage. Again, this will make sense later. And we get +1 campaign. You'll see a little token going up to the top of the screen. These are the things that we have accumulated during the course of this campaign. Let's travel here. There's possibly some research to be had. On your way to finding the Viking longboat, the crew comes across a rune stone. It's not particularly impressive or well-preserved one, but it's still worth studying. We're going to get 2 study. Again, tokens going up the top of the screen. These will get cashed in at the end if indeed we succeed. Alrighty, so this one here is going to cost us 0 supplies, and it looks quite appealing because there's status to be gained, treasure or items may be present, and there's a wits challenge that will require a tactician, beguiler, or quick thinker. We don't have any of them, but we're going to head here anyway. Battles of old. The crew is walking through a seemingly boring landscape. Suddenly, Kiwi finds a small piece of iron. It looks like a broken Viking sword. The crew starts investigating the area to see if there is more. We're going to look carefully. This is an ancient Viking battlefield. Amelia imagines the wondrous treasure that is to be found here, not to speak of the fame awaiting you for such a prestigious discovery. Amelia ponders what to do next. We're going to start looking for treasure. The crew goes on and starts looking around like true explorers. After 40 minutes or so of investigation, Amelia finds something. So we have a random chance, 1/3. I guess there's one leftover percentage point somewhere. Either a Viking shield, a Viking helmet, or a prince's skull. Let's find out what we got. A prince's skull is going to give us 25 renown and 1 insight. And we're going to get 4 collect tokens and 4 campaign tokens. Thank you very much. And that treasure is going to go into our inventory. A remarkable find. Not many can claim to have found something like this in such a strange place. With the battlefield fully stripped of its secrets, the crew can continue. What an amazing day to be a renowned explorer. Or some might say a cultural appropriator, but let's just try and enjoy what the game does have to offer. So we can move for another 0 supplies in this direction, which could be quite handy, but up here we do have more supply that we can gain. So I'm actually wondering what we might do is we might head down here for 0. We might see what other things we can uncover, and then we possibly will work our way back up and try and resupply up here. Let's see how that works out for us. Your crew stops at an open field. Delicious rare mushrooms are growing here in small troops. These delicacies will go down great at parties or as a gift to other renowned explorers. It's going to give us 2 more campaign tokens. Good. So perhaps we might... Let's see, what have we got here? That'll be 1, that'll be 2, that'll be 3. That'll get us some more things. It would be nice to get some gold here because we kind of have 7 campaign tokens already and only 4 collect. Let's head this way and see what we find. Sometimes you're just lucky. Jean-Pierre was getting pretty bored as Amelia was planning the next step and started picking up pebbles to skim on a lake. By chance, Jean-Pierre's 5th pebble was actually an old Viking coin. A small sack of coins was lying nearby. Yeah, we rock. All right, so back we go. And then again over here, and we're going to head to this supply and see what we can pick up. Normally, you wouldn't be so excited about this, but you found an abandoned farm. The fields are overgrown with vegetables and even some fruit trees. You take some time to restock your supplies. It's going to give us another 3. Bringing us back up to 6, which is great. All right. Now, at this unexplored node, dear viewers, there is a nature challenge. An athlete, naturalist, or survivalist may be useful, and I do believe that we have all of those things in our crew composition. So these little leafy nature challenges are definitely ones to look out for, given the crew composition that we have picked. You encounter a group of Highlanders sweating and breathing heavily. One of them, who the others call Coach, speaks. Hey there, we're the local rugby team and are trying to increase our stamina by jogging. We were just about to do some tackle drills. Why don't you join us and show us what you got? So we can send any of our crew members on this particular challenge, but as you can see here, Jean-Pierre is a 93% success rate, so we're definitely going to go with them. So here comes the spinner. That will come to both love and dread. That is a success icon, so we did it. Hooray us. Jean-Pierre tackles the rugby players as if they weren't there. Eventually, even 3 of them try to tackle Jean-Pierre at once, but Jean-Pierre keeps standing strong. After the training is over, the coach shows great appreciation. That was the best performance I've ever seen. This will go down in history as the best training ever. Too bad we can't add you to our team, so we get more things. Well done, us. And now we're going to head down to this unexplored node, on which I can see that there might be an encounter here. Let's see what we find. Some cuddly sheep are fond of the crew and keep surrounding you. It makes it hard to move, and you have to do something. So we're going to engage and start a rank 1 encounter. So this is going to take us to the tactics screen. Our goal is to defeat all of the enemies, and you can see of these 3 different attitudes, friendly, devious, or aggressive. If we complete this engagement using a friendly attitude, then we're going to get 1 encounter token. The other 2, devious and aggressive, have no rewards. So that's going to pop this over here so that we can be reminded what the relative rewards are. So let's have a really quick chat about this, but again, I'm going to try and explain this sort of as we do it. Here are our 3 attitudes: aggressive, friendly, and devious. You can see that they're in a little bit of a round robin. So aggressive tends to dominate over friendly, which tends to dominate over devious, which tends to dominate over aggressive, and around we go. The enemy's, air quote, current attitude is friendly, and ours is uncertain because we haven't done anything yet. Down the bottom here, for each of the characters, you'll be able to see a number of abilities that they have, and all of them at this point will have 1 that is aggressive, 1 that is devious, and 1 that is friendly, and possibly some extras as well. for reviving crew members. You can also see this little icon that's next to each of our characters is also replicated down here. This character is currently not affected by an emotional state, so everyone is neutral. So there's a bunch of different things that we can do using these different types of attack that's going to determine what attitude we currently hold, and you can cycle through them by using different abilities that can reprioritize what current attitude you have. But each character also has emotional states and a mood meter, which you can see at the bottom, and then sort of these stamina and hit points at the top. Anyway, enough waffle. This will make more sense when we start doing things. So what I'm going to do here to begin with is I'm going to select Amelia, and I'm going to use Amelia's Excite ability. Now, we can use all of these things on enemies, or we can use them on ourselves. In this case, I am going to try using this on one of our neighbouring characters. I'm going to cast it on Kiwi. So Kiwi's attitude has now changed as a result of that being cast. They are now excited. This character will say everything with extra enthusiasm, increasing speech power by 25%. So you can see the speech stat here is now buffed, and it's green here instead of white. So what I should be able to do now is I should be able to take Kiwi over here and right-click to move. Then we're going to use our friendly ability, which you can see is tied to speech power, which we've just buffed, and we're going to use that here on this sheep. A little bit of a zoom in so that we can see what's happening. And that sheep has run out of stamina and is excited about your cause and stops resisting. You can see now that our attitude has changed to pleasant. Physical attacks have plus 50 attack power. All your crew members gain backstab. Physical attacks have plus 50 attack power. Next to this attitude that we now have of pleasant, you can see the devious and aggressive icons. If we were to do one aggressive action, that would actually shift our attitude to aggressive. If we were to do 3 devious, it would shift our attitude to devious. And you can see over here that because we've just done a friendly ability, friendly has filled all the way up. Let's move Jean-Pierre over here. We're also going to try to impress this sheep. It's going to do a slightly different thing from the other one. It's going to change this sheep's demeanor. And they are now excited. Sorry, my mistake. Impressed. This character is impressed or flattered, reducing speech defense by 25%. So they now have negative 25 speech defense. So any speech abilities that we use on that particular unit are going to be more effective. We're going to hit the end turn. It's going to be the sheep's turn to come and have a go at us now. They're probably going to be friendly to us, which is going to start wearing away at our stamina. There's a fumble from the sheep. Whoops. Come on, Jean-Pierre, I believe in you. So the mood meter going up there, but also the stamina kind of on the way down. So I think what we should be able to do here can heal an ally's spirit by 35% times speech. I'm actually going to move Amelia over here so that I can use this excite here onto Jean-Pierre, which will change his attitude now back to excited, which means we're going to get a buff to this here, and we should be able to use that to take out one of these sheep. So I'm going to go with this one here, so we have one less thing to worry about. And there's no fumble, so that's great. Sheep is impressed by you and doesn't wish to stop you. Good to know. And this one here should also take out this sheep. Kiwi doing well there because she has also got the excited buff. All right. 2 sheep remaining. Let's see what happens. It's going to be fairly predictable at this early stage. This is kind of a bit of a training expedition and also some sort of some training engagements. So Kiwi, very positive mood happening here, but as you can see, the stamina is slowly wearing down. So once again, we're going to use this. It's effectively a heal, but also does a mood adjustment. And then we should be able to take that one out. Very good. And then we should be able to move around here. And that devious is going to result... the devious ability, Sadden, is going to result in in being able to take the sheep out in one go, whereas this one here isn't. And in theory, that's not going to tip things up enough over here for us to change our attitude, which means when the combat resolves, we should still get the friendly bonus. Let's find out. Sorry, sheep. The sheep is saddened beyond words and just wants to be alone. And indeed, we got a friendly victory, so we get ourselves all of these tokens. And we also get a friendly expedition buff, which you can now see over here next to Amelia's portrait. You are a true friend of the animals. The sheep follow you, but Kiwi teaches them not to get in the way. Kiwi even gives the cutest sheep a name, Woolly Amelia. Very good. We can now continue with our exploration. So now that we have this friendly expedition buff, +5 speech defense and +2 speech power for Amelia, who now has 2 experience out of 4. Jean-Pierre has 4 out of 4 and can level up. We'll do that in a moment. And Kiwi also on 2 out of 4. So let's select our character. You can see here a list of the perks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 8 perks under each category. So this character currently has the Smashing and Sailor subcategories under Athlete. These are the abilities that we currently have equipped on the character. This is the items in the 3 different types of equipment slots that we have, all of the stats, and then a bit of a skill tree here. So because there's been level up happening here, we can either pick to get the Archaeologist Occult perk or the Athlete Stamina perk. I'm going to lean into the Athlete specialization. I'm going to select that icon. It's also going to give us the Inspiring Attack ability, which is going to end up in our abilities pool. And this one is also going to heal all adjacent allies by 40% of attack power, and can also change their mood to confident. Let's unlock that. It's going to be handy to have. Okie dokie. Now we could go straight here for the end game encounter. We're not going to do that because we still have 4 supply left. So we're going to move around a little more. Over here, there will be a cultural challenge. A diplomat or archaeologist may be useful, and Amelia does have some points in archaeology. So let's go and have a look. The crew comes across an old book hidden in an abandoned chest. Written inside are many poems describing local folklore, interesting, and it will surely help you speak more poetically. Amelia sees there is more to the book than meets the eye because she is a level 1 archaeologist. Scribbled on the book are notes about Viking history never written down before. This is a most intriguing find. That's why you take an archaeologist with you. Thank you, video game, for turning the subtext into text. Lots of icons we're building up here now, folks. For if we succeed at this encounter, we should be able to get a groovy reward at the end. Now, we still have 4 of our supply left because that last leg there didn't cost us any. There's something odd at this unexplored location. Let's find out what it is. Your crew finds a great place to set up camp and rest a little. Your mixed crew keeps itself busy by doing all the things they love. Amelia looks around curiously while Kiwi writes in a little notebook. Your crew has well-balanced skills and interests. A balanced bunch. Cool. We get a bonus. At night, everyone sits around the campfire. They tell all kinds of stories. The stories were interesting and exciting, but the best story was, I think, seeing as he's looking grumpy, we're going to go with Jean-Pierre. Jean-Pierre told a scary story about a group of teen explorers stuck in a Scottish Highlands manor. The crew was absolutely terrified. Jean-Pierre is now the crew's storyteller. After a remarkably good night of sleep, the crew is ready to continue. They're happy they got to know each other better. They really know who to go to if they want to hear a good story. Jean-Pierre. So we should, I think, end up with Jean-Pierre getting a buff out of that at some point. We have 3 supply left, so again, we're still not going to go to the end encounter. We're going to move our way around the sides here and try and collect as much stuff as we can along the way. You encounter 2 rude men. Heh, look at these wimps. I bet we could wipe them out easily. They're not even worth fighting. These devious gentlemen are not going to leave you alone. We're starting another rank 1 encounter. Let's see how it goes. Alrighty. If we complete this being devious, we'll get a token. So let's go for that approach. They're also being devious. So what we might be able to try doing, or actually maybe I'm overthinking this because it looks like there's only 3 of them. If the encounter were a bit larger, then we could try to go with a friendly demeanor, which is going to make it a little easier to be handling a devious opponent. And then at the last second, try and switch to devious. But I think we might just go all in devious, especially because there's only 3 people here to worry about. Move Amelia first. She tends to have less movement points than the other 2. And certainly that drooping rose there, giving an indication of the kind of thing that she might have said. Okay, so that has now made this character enraged, which you can see gives them 25% less armor. So if I were to come in, say, with Kiwi around the back here, and I were to do an aggressive attack, that would clearly work a lot better because the enemy has less armor. So let's do that just to show what happens. Blam we go. Farewell. That's a very video gamey move to do there as opposed to some of the others. And you can see there are now 2 pips here in this progress towards an aggressive attitude shift. So we wouldn't want to do any more aggressive moves, otherwise it would shift to aggressive, and then we'd have to shift it back to devious to get this reward. So we're going to bring Jean-Pierre over, and we're going to sadden this opponent with a devious move. Smelly fish by the looks of it. That's hurt their feelings. And they now have speech power decreased by 25%. So you start to get a sense here of the bit of round robin that we have here in terms of attitudes and moods and all of the interactions that you can have between all of these things. There's enough complexity here that it does make it tricky to sort of wrap your head around all of them at the beginning. So there's ample opportunity and space here for you to get sort of better and better at the game as you play more of it and as you become exposed to more complex scenarios. Common villager is saddened beyond words and just wants to be alone. Laters. So Kiwi with quite a large amount of movement there. I'm going to try and enrage here. It's pretty good at it. And then last but not least, if we move Amelia in, we should be able to do the same. And this should conclude the scenario because we didn't whiff it, thankfully. A devious victory. Excellent. Ha! You gave them a dose of their own medicine. That makes 2 suckers that will have nightmares of Kiwi's destructive words. The crew proceeds with the expedition. More tokens for us. And our other 2 characters have now leveled up. So let's have a look here. We can either upgrade the Survivalist Tracking perk or the Archaeologist Symbolism perk. I think we're going to lean in again to Survivalist here. In terms of what each of these specific perks do, that's an excellent question. There's not a really simple, straightforward way of finding out in the game UI. So maybe that's something for me to do a little bit of homework on for a future episode. Certainly there are some different encounters or challenges that relate to the specific subcategories of perks. So thematically, that can sort of be a correlation that makes sense. But I'm not exactly sure what beyond that these specific parts do. So we can go for Naturalist Classical Physics, or we can go for Archaeologist Excavation. I do like digging things up, so I think we're going to go with Archaeologist. And Amelia is also going to get another ability as well. So all of our characters are now level 2. We still have 2 Resolve left, and we still have 2 supplies left as well. So we're just going to check the connectivity here. If we use 1 supply here, we can use our last remaining supply to make it to the end. So that's good to know. Sometimes your crew finds opportunities to promote itself shamelessly in the eye of the locals to gain status. However, say something offensive or make a wrong move and no one will like you. Whose turn? Not quite sure that's the right whose, but anyway, whose turn is it for social duties? Jean-Pierre has the highest percentage chance. It's essentially a coin flip. Not quite 50-50, but close enough. Let's see if we succeed. Yay, we did it. The locals are impressed by Jean-Pierre. Wow, wow, you're so cool. We have to tell everyone. These people are saved from ignorance by your majestic self. Sure. More tokens. Alrighty, we have one supply left. We can move one supply to get here to the end of this scenario, but I'm afraid that we're actually out of time for this part of the Let's Play. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you're enjoying this, please give it a thumbs up. Remember, you can subscribe to the channel if you'd like to be notified when other episodes are released. And come back again soon for more Renowned Explorers International Society.